Hello, everyone, and welcome back to, of course, another very special episode of X Talking Ish with your boy X.
Hey boy ish.
You already know what to do. Of course, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like and share this broadcast. Of course, like I said, if you are on Facebook, please make sure you like our Facebook page. And you are on YouTube, please make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Go ahead and hit that notification bells for shows in the future.
Ding.
Thank you for that, Ish. And if you are on Twitter, we do now have our stream on Twitter, on Periscope, on our Twitter page at X Talking Ish. So if you want to join us on Twitter, go ahead and check us out there and tune in throughout the day for updates for football games and also for funny jokes here and there on Twitter. So please go ahead and follow us on there as well. And Ish, it's NFL Week 3. I mean, it seemed like just yesterday we were starting the season off, and now we already into Week 3.
Yeah.
There are, for the most part, this week ish. I know you've seen the slate. I've seen it as well. Most of these games should go the way that we think that they should go. There are some games that are kind of 50-50, but for the most part, unless we don't have a crazy NFL weekend, most of these games should go as is. Let's go ahead and just start it off with this game to watch the football team versus the Buffalo Bills. And of course, just let everybody know before we start this show, as always, Ish and I do not see each other's pick until the morning of. So there are some picks that we are kind of all on the boat for some of these picks, but for the most part, just letting y'all know as always, we did not know who was going to pick who. So Ish, go ahead and let them know how you feel about this game.
Yeah, for me, I just think the Bills are going to win this one after a very dominant performance last week. I just expect that to continue, especially against a defense that uncharacteristically from the Washington football team have been struggling. They've actually been struggling this year. They're ranked 25th in the league, which is far from where they were last year.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination of not only the defense and some people, starting to have tape on them and, scheme specifically for that defense and Chase Young and some of those guys, but also the fact that you've got Taylor Heineke, Tyler Heineke, Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
as your quarterback, and it just kind of changes your offensive game plan enough that it puts your defense out there a little bit more. And I think that Josh Allen and the Bills, maybe they finally hit their stride. Last week was like the beginning of them kind of rounding into form, so to speak. And so, yeah, I just expect a win for them.
Also, quick little tidbit: the Buffalo Bills have won the last 7 of 8 against the Washington football team. So let's go ahead and, of course, put that as a nice little keynote. But for the most part, um, let's be real. We've seen the beginning of Taylor Heineke, his career, what he did last season against Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs, and a lot of people felt like, oh man, this he had a good showing against Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think he can be the guy for Washington football team. And granted, to be honest with you, I felt like he probably should have been day one starter for the Washington football team. That's
Uh,
just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
No, I agree. I was, if you remember, at the end of the season last year, and during the offseason, I was making the argument that they should give the guy a shot, and I think so far his performances have led everybody to believe, like, yeah, maybe this guy does deserve a shot. So yeah, I'm with you on that.
And I mean, he plays well. I just think he needs, how can I say, just need more reps. I guess that's the best way to put it. I just think he's a
Yeah.
guy that needs more reps. It's easy for everybody on the outside looking in to say, "Oh, Washington, go get Deshaun Watson, go get Cam Newton." Right? Everybody. It's easy to say bring Cam Newton into a Ron Rivera system. Of course, went to the Super Bowl with Ron Rivera, but from what it looks like, ish. I mean, we're in week 3 and Cam hasn't received anything at the moment, and not even just from teams around the league, but this team in particular. And I don't know about you, if Cam isn't getting a look from this team, it seems like Cam's starting career for this season at least is over with.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean, we talked about it early on when he first got released. I told you it was going to be a difficult spot for Cam because When you've got quarterbacks already on your team that are familiar with your system, how do you bring a Cam Newton in when you're going to have to adjust some of what you do to fit his game? It just doesn't make sense. It's not something you want to do. It's something you consider, but not very lightly when it comes to being in season and already having people in the building that are familiar with things, right? So the further it goes along into the season, the harder it is to see a team bringing Cam Newton in to be a starter, let alone like bring him in at all, because he does require you to make some adjustments that I think a lot of teams at this point probably aren't willing to make.
No, I definitely agree with you on that one, boss. And like you said, it's the adjustment part. It's the having to tailor make your offense to a 30-plus-year-old Cam Newton. This isn't a young Cam Newton anymore. So that's interesting. So let's go ahead and move on. Enough with the Cam Newton talk. Let's go ahead and move on to the next game of the day: the Ravens versus the Lions. Let's just be real. This is going to be a game that's probably not pretty to watch. This could get
I don't
ugly
agree.
very quickly. That's just my opinion. But I'm listening. Go ahead.
I get you. I get you. At on the surface, I had thought the same thing. I was like, oh well, this isn't even gonna be close. But when you actually look into it, the Ravens have the second worst defense in the league. And considering what Jared Goff and that Detroit Lions offense was able to do against the Green Bay Packers, I would expect that, they're going to be able to come out and move the ball. Now, whether or not they're going to be able to sustain drives and put up enough points to compete with the third-ranked offense in the NFL, that's another thing to be seen. There's also the concern with Hollywood Brown, who was limited in practice yesterday. So is he or isn't he going to play? How effective is he going to be with a bum ankle? For a guy that relies so much on speed, that's something to be concerned about if you're a Ravens fan, because he and Lamar have actually looked good the first 2 weeks. They actually are finding Lamar's actually finding him down the field, and they've been making some big plays outside of Lamar and Mark Andrews. So his availability, combined with the defense and combined with, Detroit, I think they have a little bit of confidence. Even though they lost that game to Green Bay, I do feel like they feel like the pieces are getting put together, right? And I expect them to come out and give Baltimore a really good game, but I still expect Baltimore to come through with the victory at the end of the day.
Back on there. All right, Ish. I don't know if everybody heard you. We did have a little technical difficulty, so if you do want to repeat the last 15 seconds of what you just said.
No, I just expect Baltimore to win at the end of the day. Like, I think that Detroit's going to give them a good game, but Baltimore's going to win.
Okay. I'll just add my 2 cents onto this. At the moment, the Lions have allowed 30 points in 8 straight games at the moment. That is the longest in franchise history. Just think about that. That franchise, and now this is. But anyways, that just shows how poorly the defense is playing at the moment.
Here you go being disrespectful again.
Look, man, it's not being disrespectful.
You won't leave Detroit alone. You won't leave them alone.
I love that city the way my dad loves the city, but the team is just ugh. Anyways, I just see Lamar taking care of business. I mean, Lamar could be just him and just the Hollywood sign. Won't even need Hollywood Brown, and I'm gonna take him over the Lions this Sunday. That's just my opinion. All right, let's go ahead and get to an AFC West matchup, and this game is rather interesting to me because, like I told you at the beginning of this show, we don't see picks. So when I saw my Sidonius do the mental reverse psychology to say, you know what, I know my team can win, but I'm not gonna pick them this time because I just want them to if they lose, I'm not gonna feel bad because I won. But if they win, I'm not gonna feel bad because I picked them to lose, but they really won, so that's good for them. I see what you're doing. Now I want to go first on this one.
Go ahead.
Because the only team that gives y'all problems the last couple of years is the Las Vegas Raiders, and we've talked about this on this show plenty of times before. And you've talked about it as well, that the LA Chargers is a team that's on the uprise, that is getting better, get year in, year out, game in and game out, and potentially on that track to not just beat the Chiefs, but maybe even take that crown back in the next 3 to 4 years or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for you to say those things, and for you, and I don't care about who missing, I don't care about who not playing. I don't care about what you about to say, Ish. For you to pick the LA Chargers to beat the Kansas City Chiefs at the formerly known as the Arrowhead Stadium, for you to say, I am appalled, I am shocked, I am disappointed and disrespected as a 2019 AFC champion finalist, Tennessee Titans. I am disappointed in you for picking the Chargers, but I want to hear what you have to say on this one. Ish. Go ahead. I'm gonna sit back and listen.
So yeah, I mean, one thing to keep in mind, this is just week 3. So even if they lose to the Chargers, as I have it predicted today, it's nothing to be concerned about. It's nothing to really like sound the alarm or anything. But I just think that number one, you have the worst defense in the NFL. Now, granted, a lot of people will say you face the 2 best rushing attacks in the first 2 weeks, which is in your weaknesses running the rush defense. Not to mention today you have Frank Clark likely going to miss and Chris Jones likely to miss. So when you're missing 2 of by far the most important pieces on the front line against the 5th ranked offense in the NFL, there has to be some cause for concern. Now, they're not necessarily a big rushing attack, so that's one thing in your favor. But if you've watched this LA offense, Justin Herbert and these receivers, mainly Mike Williams has been, I mean, we've been waiting for him to perform like this, and this has been his coming out party. He has been dominating, a dominant performance weekend. The first 2 weeks, just both dominant performances. So when you look at that and you look at the last ranked defense, I just think for me, it looks like this is going to be a game where they're going to be points scored, obviously. And I just don't know, similar to what happened last week with the Ravens, if this defense is able to help the offense out enough to get them over the hump right there. I just don't know if that's going to happen. I think that when you're putting up a shootout, previously you would say in a shootout, oh, I got Patrick Mahomes. But with this defense, I don't know. It's going to be whoever has the ball last, right? And I just see the Chargers coming in, getting a big win. It'll be big for them. It'll be a big momentum shift in the AFC West. I think you'll start to see Chargers and Raiders fans really start to think maybe this is their year. But like I said, there's no cause for concern. I just think that LA is going to come in really hungry to win, beat up on the Chiefs team that's down. And I haven't seen anything from this defense to let me know that they're actually going to be able to stand up and stop this offense. Not to mention the 2 guys, like I mentioned, that are out. That is a big time loss.
First things first, it's still weird calling the Chargers LA. Just
I know.
Everybody know that's still the San Diego Superchargers to me, but that's here nor there. And like I said before you went on your little soliloquy, I don't give a damn who's missing. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
It ain't gonna happen. All right. Ain't gonna happen. I see my boy Patty Mahomes coming in with the Royals jersey. He about to go out there and sling that thing. Okay.
I don't doubt he will.
That's all I'm saying. Look, it's 5 touchdowns from Patty Mahomes today. 5. Count
Hopefully
them.
that's enough to beat
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them.
Hopefully
The
that's enough to beat them.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Because it could
Count
be
that.
6 touchdowns from Herbert.
You might be right. And I'm going to be upset because I got him on fantasy. I put him on the bench this week. If he throw for 6, I'm gonna look right at you, sir. Right at you.
Don't
All
look
right.
at me.
Speaking of quarterbacks that are not throwing 6 touchdowns this game, it might not even be 6 touchdowns combined.
Yeah.
In this game, this is definitely the toilet bowl game of the week. The Giants and the Falcons. Ugh. I don't know who decided to match these 2 teams up in the NFL schedule makers, but sure, that's what we got for week 3. And unfortunately, one of these teams are going to have to come out with a win, maybe even a tie. But at the moment, I'm going with the best of the worst 0-2 team, the New York Giants. The Falcons, man, they are just it's just not good. That's just the best way I can put it. It's
I
just not
I
good
agree.
on both sides of the ball. I mean, if I'm Matt Ryan, maybe I want to go ahead and get up out of Atlanta sooner than I wanted
I don't think
to.
he would do that.
Well, I understand that, and you're right. And also, Matt Ryan just now got his national commercials with Tide and whatnot. So I don't think he wants to change teams that soon. But ish, I need help with this Atlanta Falcons because this is not good at all. This is a team that's coming off of a Super Bowl appearance. What 5 years ago?
Yeah.
How things turn just so quickly, huh?
Yeah, I mean the league is a brutal league. Things change very quickly, and unfortunately for Atlanta, the league has kind of left them behind. They're in a bad spot. They don't really look good every week. So, like you said, I went with the best of the worst. I chose the Giants not because I think that the Giants are a great team, but because I think they're better than Atlanta. It's as simple as that. Atlanta is in a full rebuild at this moment. Honestly, you say that about Matt Ryan. I don't know that Matt Ryan would ask to leave, but most definitely, if I'm Arthur Blank in the Atlanta Falcons organization, if a quarterback needy team comes with a decent enough offer to give me a couple of draft picks for Matt Ryan, I'm definitely considering it. If not even just kind of floating his name out there on the trade block just to say like, hey, if you need a quarterback, come get him and give us some draft picks because they are very much in a rebuild. I see them picking very high in next year's draft and probably snagging a quarterback. I mean, it's a pretty good quarterback, well, decent quarterback draft class coming out. Well, we still have to see how the season plays out for the college season, but yeah, probably snagging a quarterback, or if not. But honestly, this team needs help so many places that they need to get as many picks as they can, just to try to maximize um, the talent that they can get in the draft. But yeah, Giants for sure.
Now we talked about bad defenses in the last couple of topics with the Lions, and also even Washington football team with them regressing as well this season, and also even with the Chiefs.
Yep.
But at the moment, the Falcons are the worst defense when it comes to giving up 40 points
Yeah.
at the moment per
Yeah, they're
game.
dead last in points for.
I
Yep.
mean, that right there, Giants, if you don't score at least 28, 30 points, that's on y'all. But that right there is an indication of I cannot pick you.
Well, they're also the Falcons are also ranked 30th out of 32 teams when it comes to points scored. So they're dead last in points for and dead last in points scored. I mean, and a third to last in points scored. So it's like you're combining two terrible stats. Just makes for a team that 0-2 is definitely what they should be. And I will not be surprised if they continue to just lose and lose and lose. Everybody was talking about the Texans possibly not winning the game.
Yeah, yeah,
Atlanta is
yeah.
definitely a contender for not winning a game this season.
Yeah, you ain't lying on that one, boss. You ain't lying. Even with a NFL regular season MVP, that's what's crazy to even think about. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the Cardinals and the Jaguars. Ish really ain't too much to say on this game.
I was just about to say, not too much to say here.
I
It's
mean,
Cardinals
this.
all day long.
Yeah, you can go ahead and take this one first, and I'll backdoor.
Um, it's Cardinals all day long. I mean, they got the sack leader in what's his name, Chandler,
Chandler
my main
Jones,
man,
yes
Chandler
sir.
Jones. Um, he is just going to cause havoc for my boy Trevor Lawrence. The defense has been playing really well. That offense, second ranked offense in the NFL. I don't see the Jaguars stopping them. Yeah, Cardinals.
Yeah, Ish. I mean, ain't really too much to say on this one. We just might have to send a prayer out to Trevor Lawrence because it's going to be a long day for him.
Yes, it is.
Um, this might be the week where Urban Meyer started experiencing some health complications.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Please stop that.
Every week,
Please
every
stop
week,
that.
I'm just waiting for him to grab his heart and be like,
Please stop.
my heart, I can't feel anything. I'm just waiting on it. So it'd be interesting. Ain't really too much to talk about. Just a quick note: DeAndre Hopkins is dealing with a rib injury, so that'd be something to look out for.
Yep.
I don't think that'd be anything too much that he'll be dealing with throughout the game, but we shall see, of course. Jacksonville has also lost 17 straight games, lost 6 straight games by 10-plus points. So,
Yeah.
All right, shout out to Michael Lewis. He says, like Luda stated in his song, a Falcons remake, when we lose just like that.
Yeah.
All right, shout out to Luda. Shout out to Michael Lewis on that one. All right, Dolphins-Raiders game. To be honest with you, this game probably been a little bit more exciting, a little bit more interesting if Tua was available.
No, it wouldn't.
You might be right on that one as well. Just being honest. But here's the thing. We talked about this last week when the Raiders went 2-0, and I said, "Hey, don't pump your brakes. Let's not give them the crown just yet because we've seen what happened with the Raiders in multiple years when they went 2-0 and they didn't finish the job, right?" I'm not saying this Raiders team is different, but I'm just saying that they're able to catch a break this game because they're at home. They're playing against a limping Miami Dolphins team.
Yeah.
And they should win this game. They should go 3-0. They should win this game and use this momentum, Raiders. You better use this when you play against Kansas City Chiefs, the LA Chargers, because
you got LA next, so
because next week 4, man, there's gonna be some matchups. We'll get into that.
Oh yeah.
In a couple more days. But if the Raiders do not take care of business here, because what they don't want to do is look for next week and say, "Oh, we got to get the Dolphins. They ain't got to. We ain't worried about. We could take care of the Dolphins, and then of course look for next week's game and end up losing this game, and then next week losing to the LA Chargers, and all of a sudden you're 2-2, back to 500, right? So make sure that if you're a Raider fan, the nation, all that stuff, make sure you take care of business today so you can be ready for that primetime matchup next week against the LA Chargers.
Oh, most definitely. This is one of those games that we talk about throughout the season where if you're gonna be that guy at the end, if you're gonna be the one competing to make it to the Super Bowl, win divisions, win conferences, you got to win some of these games that just you should win. And this is definitely that game for the Raiders. They've got surprisingly the top-ranked offense, and they're going against the second to last ranked offense with Miami, and that's an offense that doesn't have Tua right now, right? So you're bringing in a backup. You're already second to last in total yards for your offense. I just don't see a way for the Dolphins to win this game unless they just play out of this world. But I mean, on the road, playing against this Raiders team that they just seem to be really playing for John Gruden this year. They bought in to that Raiders mentality, grind it out, hard fought football. Yeah, I just don't see it happening. Raiders going to win this one easy.
Fun little tidbit, though. Miami Dolphins have won the last 7 of 8 against the Las Vegas, formerly known as Oakland Raiders. And to be honest with you, Ish, when I see trends like that, I was going to go with the Miami Dolphins, but I just can't. I just can't. And also with Jacoby Brissett, I wanted to see more last week. If I would have saw more last week and I would have saw him play up to maybe the New England Patriots, Jacoby, I would say, maybe I have a little bit more faith in the Miami Dolphins. But at the moment, unless they come in here with a great offensive game plan, run the ball, hold on to that clock, run that clock out, make sure that Derek Carr doesn't do anything with the ball, they have a chance. But if you go in there again, throw the ball away, just don't play sound defense, it's going to be a long game. But hey, it's Sunday, right? Any given Sunday, right?
Any given Sunday.
Yes, sir. Michael Lewis says Las Vegas Raiders 27, Miami Dolphins 14. All right, let's go ahead and move on to a very interesting matchup for today's slate. I honestly love this game. I think this is going to be a game that everybody should watch out for. And I was waiting for you to make that face. I was waiting for you to be like, man, nobody want to watch this game. No. I know the Vikings are. I know the Vikings are 0-2, but they probably could be 2-0, maybe even 1-1. And the Seahawks could be 2-0, could be 0-2. That's just how tight both of these teams' games have been the first couple of weeks. And I'm gonna start this one off. Ish. I was very impressed with what the Minnesota Vikings did last week. Even though they lost, I was impressed just due to the way Kirk Cousins has been playing this season. It's early in the season. I'm not about to crown him. We both know Kirk Cousins, you've been in the league long enough to where you do not get any kudos until you take this team to the playoffs and win at least one playoff game. So I like that here in Minnesota. We don't care about what you do in the regular season. Stats look great. No turnovers at the moment. Kirk Cousins is balling. I'm going to give that to him. But there also is another guy that's going to be playing across from him that's balling as well, and that's Mr. Russell Wilson. And he's balling lights out as well. For me, the reason why I had to pick the Minnesota Vikings, you're at home, you're 0-2 ish. This is a must-win game. I know it's early in the season, this week 3. But this is a must-win because you do not want to go down 0-3. And it's not even about the division you're in because it's really the Packers division. It's really about staying on pace with everybody else in the NFC because the conference as a whole is going to be very difficult to climb out of if you're going into an 0-3 hole. Not saying you can't make the playoffs, just saying it's very, 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 very slim-ish.
Yeah, all the reasons you stated, it was why I was not surprised we were split on this game. Kirk Cousins and that Minnesota offense have been playing very well. They actually have the 10th highest scoring offense in the league right now. So I was thinking to myself at first glance, I was like, oh man, Minnesota. But then I was really I thought about it. I've watched a couple of their games this year, the first 2 games. I've watched some of it. And I've been very impressed with how that offense has played. And, this is their first game this season at home. So, it's a big, big game for them. First game at home, you're going to want to start it off on a winning foot. They're going to come in there. They're going to have the crowd behind them. They don't want to go down 0-3, like you said. But I just don't see them beating this Seattle team, even though Seattle's defense has not been that great this year. Definitely not the Legion of Boom Seattle defense that we all came to know and love. They are not a very good defense. However, their offense is the 12th ranked offense in the league, the 8th highest scoring offense in the league. And against that Minnesota defense, as much as we talk about like Kirk Cousins and what they've been doing, I think last week is going to be similar to what happens this week, and it'll be a shootout. But that Minnesota defense isn't good enough to stop anybody's offense. So if it's a shootout, I have Seattle all day because I have more faith in Seattle's defense being able to prevent some scores. I mean, right now they're ranked 16th, so they're about middle of the pack. They're dead middle of the pack as far as in points scored against. So I believe that they can stop Minnesota a little more than Minnesota's defense can stop Seattle's offense. So that's just kind of how it came down for me. But I do agree it's going to be a very good game. It's a game that people should watch because I do think it's going to be very entertaining.
Now, for me, honestly, last week, if the Vikings didn't show up the way that they did against the Arizona Cardinals, I wouldn't be as high as I am on them at the moment. A little tidbit: Seattle has won the last 6 games straight against the Minnesota Vikings. So again, if you are a trendy type of person, that might be something that you want to look out for. I just think this is going to be a hard-nosed win for whoever wins this game. It's going to be like 30, almost kind of like the Cardinals Vikings game from last week. It's going to be 31-34 type of thing. Whoever has the ball last could end up winning this game. I could definitely see that. Just go to the comment section right quick. Michael Lewis says, is Dalvin Cook, can he stop fumbling? Cousins is due for a bad game. This will be it. Seattle 27, Minnesota 21. The Vikings D versus the pass is almost last in the NFC. So, again, that's something to look out for. I think this is an interesting game. If you're not a fan of either of these teams, check it out. I think this is going to be a game that a lot of people will be talking about on Monday morning. All right, Bears versus Browns. This is a interesting matchup because this is Justin Fields' first career start in the NFL. This comes a week prior to my projected date. I always said that he would come in week 4 against the Detroit Lions at home. I just felt like it'd be an easier game to throw him out there against a not so great defense. But of course, due to Andy Dalton's injury last week, it has made the Chicago Bears throw Justin Fields into the Browns' den. See what I did there? Into the Browns' den to where he's going to have a lot on his hands. And they're playing in Cleveland. This is going to be very interesting because I think Justin Fields can play well. I honestly just don't think that they'll come out with the win. Not on him. Like, I don't think he'll just turn the ball over 3 or 4 times and have a Zach Wilson performance. But I think he'll play well. This will be new for both teams, especially for the Browns. Nobody has seen film on Justin Fields. Maybe again just for those preseason games. But I think he gets off a pretty decent start. There are going to be some wacky plays that I see that a 5-yard play ends up being a 25-yard play, right? I could see something like that happening. But I just feel like the Browns are just too good overall on both sides of the ball, and that Browns defense has too much pride to let a rookie quarterback come in and slice them up the way that some people might feel like Justin Fields is going to come in and do.
Yeah, I agree. I think one thing to note, rookie quarterbacks have all struggled this year. They've all been having a really tough time. Yes, he gets a full week of preparation, but also Cleveland gets a full week of preparation against him. They have enough film from preseason to kind of have an idea of what the Bears want to do with Fields in there. The Bears right now are the 30th ranked offense in the league. So how much is Fields going to be able to improve that offense? I don't know. I think over time he will improve it significantly. However, in his first start, I just don't see him having enough, especially against Cleveland defense that has the defensive front that you expect them to really bring that pressure to him, right? Even with Jadeveon Clowney being limited in practice this week, you still have Myles Garrett. You still have some of these other some of these other linebackers on the team, and they have Denzel Ward, who is a pretty good lockdown corner out there. So it's not just going to be receivers running free out there for the Bears. So I just think all of these things combined are going to add up to him having a decent game maybe, but I don't think he'll have enough to beat this Cleveland team that I expect to come out and run the ball hard like they do and the matchup I'm really watching is the Cleveland run game against the Bears defense. If the Bears defense is able to come out and play lights out, they can keep this game close enough to where they may be able to sneak out an upset. But they're going to have to play like lights out of this world in order to really keep them in, because I just don't see the Bears scoring a lot of points on offense.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the only way the Bears win this game is, like you said, you keep the score under 20 points. 20, maybe 25 points. If it's over 24 points, the Browns win this game. Under 24, I think 24 has to be the mark. If you're under 24, you got a chance. Over 24, it's pretty much a wrap. I agree with you tremendously. That's the tone setter, is the Browns offense against the Bears defense. If the Browns come out here and run the ball all over them, and they will be wearing their 75th anniversary uniforms this game as well, if they run over them like an old school Jim Brown, this is going to be a long game. If the Bears are able to step up and play some hard-nosed defense, as the Bears do since they've been doing since the 1930s, we got us a game. What this really feels like is, more than anything, this feels like an old school game of some of the ugliest jerseys we have in the NFL. The Bears and the Browns, both of them are ugly. I said what I said. And if both of these teams can have this grinded out type of match, then again, we could maybe see a pretty decent game. If not, this could get ugly. This could get really ugly. Michael Lewis says Cleveland 24, Chicago 17. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another interesting matchup I think people need to check out, and I'll explain in a second, but Ish, I'm going to let you go first. You're shaking your head. I'll explain why I'm saying this. and I'll let you go right quick.
This is not going to be an interesting
All
matchup.
right.
This is going to be a matchup to avoid, ignore, don't even pay attention to it. I expect an ugly game from two ugly teams. Um, I, I I just
Here
can't
you
go
go.
against King Henry in the backfield. But honestly, Tennessee has been too up and down. I expected them to come out and dominate the AFC South, and right now they're looking okay. That defense though is still not looking like a real contending defense. Mike Vrabel needs to figure it out, fix that. But at the moment, I just feel like they have more going for them than this Colts team where you got Sam Bradford 2.0, who I believe he's not playing. It's up in the
No,
air.
he's
We're
no,
still
he's starting.
questioning.
Nope, he's
Okay, he's
starting. He
starting. So
came out
he
this
is
morning.
starting. There's been some back and forth all week about him. Now he's starting. Yeah, with all the stuff that's going on there, um, to see how far the Colts have fallen just because Phillip Rivers is no longer with that team. Um, Man, it's a sad day to be a Colts fan, but yeah, I expect the Titans to win this game. It's gonna be ugly. It's a game to avoid. Don't even pay attention to it.
All right, it was because I'm the person that actually pays attention to these matchups. The AFC
Nope.
South. I'm talking about the AFC South. I ain't talking about the
Boo.
whole NFL because apparently nobody likes the AFC South. I understand,
Because it's
but
garbage.
I got you. But the Colts actually, of course, have the Tennessee Titans number, especially when they play in Tennessee. At the moment, the Colts have won 8 of the last 9 in Nashville, and there's been times where, excuse me, where the Tennessee Titans were a better team and should have won that game, especially again at home, and they ended up losing that game. At the moment, the Indianapolis Colts are the biggest monkeys on the Tennessee Titans' back. I feel like that team by itself, and until the Tennessee Titans prove to everyone that they can beat them, I just can't take them seriously making a run in the playoffs because you have to beat your demons. You have to beat certain giants before people can take you seriously, right? We talked about that in week 1 with the Bills and the Steelers. We kind of had to take a step back on the Bills and say, oh, we don't know yet, right? We have to wait and see later on in the season. Look, Titans are 1-1. Probably should be maybe 2-0, or who knows, even maybe 0-2, depending on how you feel about it. But this game right here is, if the Tennessee Titans want everybody to take them seriously, you have to win this game at home.
Oh yeah, most definitely. You must
That's
win.
all I'm saying. Carson Wentz has 2. I don't know how he sprained both ankles in the same game. Wasn't at the same time from what I was hearing, but in the same game. Carson
Only
Wentz
Sam Bradford 2.0 can do that.
playing with 2 bum ankles, and this Colts team, from what I see, just does not look like a Colts team that you should probably fear.
Night and day from last year.
So for me, the easiest choice, of course, is to pick the Titans. But for me, it's how they do it. Like Michael Lewis says, Titans 37, Colts 7. Wentz will play, but King Henry will dominate. If the Titans are able to do that when it comes to dominating this game, then I can say, you know what? Okay, we have something. But we cannot win this game by a last-second field goal, by a miraculous whatever, pick six, whatever it is. The point is, if the Titans go out there and dominate, I think more people will take them seriously-ish, and we'll go from there moving forward, of course, in week 4 and week 5. All right. It was an interesting matchup to look forward to at first, but now just due to all the coaches being out and a couple players being out for the Saints-Patriots matchup, to me, I don't think has the shine and the pretty look that it should have for this matchup. With that being said, Ish, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this to you. How you feel about this game?
It should be a boring affair. 2 really good defenses, but outside of that, that's pretty much it. I Even now, I'm kind of questioning my Saints pick. I'm picking them because I want them to bounce back. I want them to show a little bit more. Um, I'm trying to kind of have faith in Jameis Winston and see something from him. But the more I think about Bill Belichick against a blind quarterback, we saw what they did to Zach Wilson last week. The more I'm starting to think this was a bad idea. This was just a bad idea. Jameis Winston is just going to come out here and throw buku picks in this game, and New Orleans is going to limp home and just try to figure it out. But I'm trying to have faith in this defense against this rookie quarterback in Mac Jones. I mean, they have the sixth best defense when it comes to points against. So the Saints are able to do something. They are the seventh best when it comes to yards in the NFL. But that's not to say New England, second best in points against, fifth best in yards when it comes to defense. So, like I said, expect a boring game, expect somewhat of a low scoring game. I hope Jameis is able to do something to support this pick. I think the more I think about it, the more I want to switch. I'm gonna stick with
Well,
my
it's too
pick.
late.
I know
It's too late, son.
It's too late. I'm gonna stick with my pick, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh man, Jameis. I can just see you coming out throwing 4 or 5, and we could be talking about a quarterback battle down in New Orleans, and whether or not Taysom is gonna take over.
First of all, you're being very disrespectful.
Why?
Relax on James. James ain't throwing no 4 or 5 picks. Relax, bro.
Bro, his blind behind. Okay? All right.
The Carolina Panthers defense, New England's defense. Okay, let's calm down. Second off, I did the exact same thing that you were doing. I had to wait because I really wasn't gonna pick the Saints. I was like, oh, Saints about to come in here. This is, Patriots ain't what they man. And then I had to think about it. Last week, they didn't play too well with all the missing coaches. They still have some coaches that are not going to be there for this game. Also, they are returning 4 defensive starters as well this game. So that is something to look out for as well. But I just looked at the common sense factor of a lot of this stuff. The Patriots are playing at home. It's still a Bill Belichick coach team. Mac and Cheese is not turning the ball over. He's playing pretty decent offense.
But this is making it worse for me.
But here's the thing. Here's the stat that got me, Ish. The New England Patriots are 59-17 against NFC teams against 2002. That's the highest interconference record in the NFL. And on that note, that was the solidifier right there for me when it comes to I had to go ahead and pick the Patriots. That just on me.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you for rubbing it in.
Like some rubbing alcohol, baby. You know, I have to let it sting a little bit.
I already regret that pick, and it is what it is.
Look at the bright side. Jameis can make us all look silly and stupid and go out there and throw 4 touchdowns.
He's gonna throw multiple interceptions before.
You're a hater.
He's more likely to throw multiple interceptions than he is to throw multiple touchdowns.
You're a hater. All right, Michael Lewis says New England 21, New Orleans 10. That's his pick. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another game that's might need to go ahead and just not watch this game. Bengals versus Steelers. I would be more high on this game-ish if we saw Joey Burrow week 1 coming into this game, but he is a little banged up from last week. They are, of course, in Pittsburgh for this game, and I'm not too confident on the Cincinnati Bengals coming in there and stealing a divisional game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Maybe if you had Carson Palmer and TJ Hujimama and Chad Ochocinco, I would maybe, say maybe they might have this one, but not this game is.
Yeah, I think the inconsistency, the fact that they're still young is what leads me to pick Pittsburgh in Pittsburgh, right? Like, I just think that this, even with the banged up Ben Roethlisberger, you got a banged up TJ Watt. There's a lot going on that Pittsburgh side that it makes you kind of double think. You're second guessing yourself here. You're kind of like, well, they may be banged up. Maybe Cincinnati has a chance. But based off of what I saw last week from Cincinnati, it just leads me to believe that they're still a little young. They're still not ready for the moment just yet.
Still learning how to win.
Yeah, they're still learning. And I think in Pittsburgh, it's a tough game to go into Pittsburgh and beat the Steelers there early, especially early in the season. when you're still figuring things out. So that's why I have the Pittsburgh Steelers winning this game. I wouldn't even be surprised if Cincinnati finds a way to make it interesting for maybe the first 2-3 quarters, and then Pittsburgh just lays it on them in the fourth. But I just don't think this team is quite ready for this moment yet. They're getting there. Trust me. Maybe later in the season we'll be talking about Pittsburgh going into Cincinnati and Cincinnati pulling off that victory. But they're still learning and growing into that echelon, I guess, of team that's going to be able to compete with these other teams.
No, I definitely agree with you on that. Like you said, maybe later on in the season, whenever they do play again, maybe we could see that upset headline where the Bengals do beat the Steelers. But not this game, buddy. Not doing it. Not doing it. Not taking that bait. Mm-mm. All right, let's go ahead and move on to another fun game on our slate: the Jets and the Broncos. Like I told you, hey, this week is going to be pretty simple. If most teams are able to take care of their business, this game should definitely take care. This game should definitely go the way it should. And also, Michael Lewis says Steelers 24, Bengals 14. Steelers playing angry after losing to the Raiders. Yes, I definitely agree with that on as well. Michael Lewis still's got a point to prove, and unfortunately, it's the little brothers of the AFC North that's going to have to take that butt whooping. And with the Jets and the Broncos, I'll start this one off ish. I mean, it's really not too much to say other than it's not looking too great in New York. Not just for the Jets, but also for the Giants. Buffalo, y'all don't really count because y'all up in the north. People think of New York. Unfortunately, people only think of New York City. But for the Jets, I really was expecting a little bit more ish. I was expecting a little bit more, especially of course the new head coach. Knew everything, but looks like the Jets are going to Jets, man, and they're about to go down 0-3, most likely after they lose to the Broncos. I just have more faith in the Broncos, and when the Broncos beat the Jets, looks like they'll take care of 2 out of 3 teams of New York in just 3 weeks.
So let me just start off by saying the Broncos are going to win this game because the Broncos should win this game, and I just see them winning this game. But let me follow that up by saying not so fast, sir. A lot of people are paying attention to this New York Jets record, and they're saying, oh, well, the Jets, it's more of the same. Beware the Jets. The Jets are a bad team. La la la. I just want to point out something that you need to dig a little bit deeper when you look at this team in order to identify that this guy that they hired, he's on the right track. The New York Jets, after 2 weeks, are a top 10 defense. They're ranked number 9 in total defense, but more telling than that, they are ranked 10th in points against. So it's not like they're giving up a lot. And the only reason why they're ranked 10th in points against is, if you remember last week, they turned the ball over so many times that the New England Patriots were able to score 25 points. So if you take away the turnovers that you had, where you have a rookie quarterback who's learning against a Bill Belichick defense, you may be seeing a better situation from New England. I don't say they win that game, but what I'm saying is, statistically, this defense is actually way improved from last year, where they were the 26th ranked defense in the league. So you hired a defensive guy, and he's done exactly what you expected. He's come in and he's changed that team around as far as defensively. Offensively, you're going to have to take some time. I mean, you got a rookie quarterback. You don't really have too many pieces around him. You got here and there, but it's all over the place. You still need to build that offense up, right? So from a Jets fan perspective, I would say to you guys, just, hey, don't worry about the record this year. Worry about the things you need to be looking at for the New York Jets this year. How do they play in these games? What kind of fight do they have? What is their mentality? And you need to see statistically, are they trending in the right direction? If they are doing those things, then let's wait until next year. And we got to give him like 2 years to build that team, because you got to remember where he's coming from and who was leading that team before him, who clearly should never get another head coaching job in the
Mr.
league.
Adam Gase. Yes, yes. No, I'm not mad at that at all. Everything that you said, because you are right. I think unfortunately in this microwave society, we are now just so used to everything being instantaneously, right? We expect a Sean McVay to join any team and go get that team to Super Bowl within 2 years, right? We expect a Kyle Shanahan to be able to get that team to a Super Bowl within 2 years, and that's unfortunate, right? I really think you have to look at everybody's situation as a case by case scenario, right? And I think with the New York Jets, they haven't won a Super Bowl since the '60s. Okay, so everybody that's a fan of the Jets, pump your brakes, get back to the playoffs first, and then we can talk about y'all being serious contenders in the AFC. But I agree with you, Ish, on that one. At least the first year has to, no matter who you are, if a coach, a player, whatever it is, first year has to be your establishing year. At least let people know, look, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is how it's going to be. And moving forward, you can build off of that. And like you said, I mean, if they finish, because this is only week 3, if they finish the season with a top 10 defense, that's something you can improve on moving forward to at least attract some defensive players as well to say, hey, look, we have top 10 defense. You can come here and help make it better. And then the off, you can also bring in some offensive guys. Say, hey, look, we have a good defense. We just need you to come in and score another touchdown or two and to take this whole team to another level. So, like you said, we're going to keep this very short and sweet. We have the Broncos, but the Jets in another 3 more years maybe be a team to look out for. Michael Lewis says, I'd rather watch baseball playoff race than this game. Denver 17.
It's going to be boring. Teddy,
the
2
Jets,
yards.
14. You gonna stop disrespecting Teddy 2 gloves? God dang it.
Teddy 2 yards. Right, I mean, not fun to watch.
Anyways, I'll give you something fun to watch. This game right here, Buccaneers versus Rams. Woo! This probably should have been a Sunday Night Football game, but it's okay because we get to have a great afternoon game, and then we go into the Sunday Night Football game, which we'll get to very shortly. And this Buccaneers Ram game, I don't think it'll be the game of the year. But it definitely will be top 5 when this game is over with. I'll tell you that, because this is going to be some fireworks. It's going to be some defensive. It's going to be some defensive series where you're going to be like, man, Jalen Ramsey made a great play. Aaron Donald, of course, on the other side with Shaq Barrett or even JPP. Both of these teams, have really good sides of the balls on both sides, offense and defense. Of course, there's special teams as well, and it can go either way. It can be a shootout and be 35-38. It can be a grinded out type of game, and it can be 17-20. I'm very interested to see how this game is going to go. But with it being in LA, I had to take the LA Rams, and it has nothing to do with Tom Brady. It has nothing to do with no. We know who Tom Brady is. We know about that team. They were Super Bowl champs. We know that. I'm not even worried about them traveling from Florida to LA. I just think that the main factor of why this game is going to be different is because of Mr. Matthew Stafford. I think Matthew Stafford is what the Rams needed to be able to go back to the Super Bowl. And if he can play a very, very good game, this could be the preview for the NFC Championship game in another couple more months.
Oh yeah, most definitely. It could potentially be the NFC Championship game. One thing that's got me excited about this game, even though I love good defense, I love a good defensive battle. I love watching teams that play defense the right way. You got the 5th highest scoring offense versus the top scoring offense in the league. Tampa Bay have the highest scoring offense. LA have the 5th highest scoring offense. So it should be a good offensive battle. For me, what it ultimately came down to, because it'll be easy, and I guess, it'll be easy to pick the Buccaneers to win all the games this year, right? Because they're the defending champs, because of what they brought back, because they have Tom Brady, so on and so forth. I mean, the list goes on and on. However, I don't see them going undefeated. They're going to lose some games this year. And I just feel like a game like this, going into LA, playing against the Rams, and how well they've been playing. Matt Stafford definitely is a difference maker for that team. You can already see that Jared Goff was a liability for them. Uh, I just think that the Rams know what is at stake. They know that the stage is set for them to, you know, put on a show in LA, and I expect them to do exactly that. It's similar to me in what I said last year when the Chiefs were playing Tampa Bay, when they went down into Tampa Bay, and I was
Yes,
like, oh,
yes.
you know, Andy Reid knows what's at stake. He knows what, you know, people are looking for. He knows what people are saying about this game. They're gonna go in and they're gonna let him just sling that thing around. And what did they do? They sure went in there in Tampa Bay and let him sling it. And I just think Sean McVay, it's a similar situation. He knows what is at stake, and they are gonna try to put on a show against Tampa Bay just to say, like, hey, league, we're here. We're serious contenders. You need to pay attention to us. So that for that reason, I expect the Rams to get a win at home against the Buccaneers. Um, just because they have to. They have to. For me, they have to because they have more to lose of losing this game than the Bucks do of losing this game. I feel like for the Buccaneers, they lose this game. Oh well, you lost a game in LA on the road early in the season. Who cares? But for the Rams, it's a knock to your status of a contending team if you lose to the Buccaneers now. I know it's early in the season. I know people are going to be like, oh, well, there's a lot to go on. But there's something to be said about the confidence of beating the guy. I think Tampa Bay was able to come back in the Super Bowl and do what they did against Kansas City because they weren't the guy. All right. Kansas City was the guy. They were the defending champions. So Tampa Bay can lose and say, hey, that was the defending champions. They beat us, but we're going to come back and get them. But for the Rams who are chasing the guy, you have a chance to make this statement. You have got to beat him at home. You got to beat these guys at home. You cannot lose and then give the excuse of like, oh, they're the Super Bowl champions. Like, no, if you want to be a contender, if you expect to compete for the Super Bowl, now's your time to make that statement. Don't wait until later on.
In the words of Ric Flair, to beat a man, you got to beat the man, right? I mean, that just it is what it is. It's as simple as I can put it. A couple of tidbits before we move on to the next topic. At the moment, Jared Goff is still 0-9 without being coached by Sean McVay. This is Tom Brady's first game in LA. He's been in the league for 20 plus years. He's played in 35 different cities across the United States. Then this is his first game in LA. Of course, due to LA not having a team, but now that they do. And also, just to finish this up, this topic ish, I think this is going to be a great fun game to watch. Michael Lewis says a shoot in LeBron land. They Rams 37, Tampa Bay 34. So everybody, hey, keep your peepers out for this one. It'll be very interesting to watch. Let's get to the Sunday night football game. Packers versus 49ers. This is, of course, Aaron Rodgers coming home type of game. Of course, his favorite team, childhood team growing up. And we won't be on this game too long because we want to go ahead and let you guys go and finish watching y'all's pregame shows before week 3 slate is up. So we'll keep this very short. Packers 49ers ish. Let me hear what you got.
Yeah, for me, I just have the Packers. I have Aaron Rodgers and this offense. I feel like they've clicked last week. They came out against Detroit. They started to show what we expected them to show. I think week 1 to me was a fluke, as we've seen with New Orleans and what they've done since week 1, and Green Bay what they've done. So I expect for the Green Bay Packers to come in to play really well offensively, defensively. I think that they will do enough against the San Francisco team that's really kind of limping into this game. We know what's happening at the running back position for them. It seems like they're still kind of up and down with Jimmy G and this Trey Lance situation. I don't know. I feel like it's just going to loom all season. They should have handled it from the very beginning. Just let Jimmy G be the guy, and that's it. I just don't see the San Francisco offense scoring enough to keep up with Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if San Francisco wins. If you remember, I have them going to the Super Bowl in my early pick. So I definitely wouldn't mind San Francisco winning, but I expect Aaron Rodgers and this offense to continue what they showed last week.
To be honest with you, the main reason why I have to go with the 49ers, besides them playing at home, and like you said with the Packers and what they did last week against the Detroit Lions at home, I'll get to that very shortly. The 49ers is as a team and as a embodiment of who they are, from the coach to the ownership group to the former players to the players that they have now. They have big kahunas, okay? And if you don't know what that means, that means big nuts, okay? They have big nuts. I mean, that is the culture of the 49ers. I just respect so much, and the Packers too. Packers, I'm not taking anything away from them. I just feel like what we saw last year, and we talked about this when all the injuries that they had, they know how to play through things like this. They know how to play through adversity. They know how to play through difficult times to where when people doubt to count them out, that's when they probably play their best game. And for me, I feel like this is going to be a Sunday night football game where they're going to show folks that, like, hey, like, and prove to you ish, y'all picked us to go to the Super Bowl. We're going to make sure you get that pick correct when you pick the 49ers, because I respect them too much to give up on them so early in the season. The Packers, I love me some Aaron Rodgers, but over the last 8 years, I mean, the resume speaks for itself. We get to the playoffs and we haven't seen Aaron Rodgers get to a Super Bowl in 10 years. I mean, just think about that, right? So I don't think it's a gimme for the Packers. I think the 49ers take care of business at home. Michael Lewis says, when do the Giants play in the NLCS? The streak ends we start losing again. Packers 27, 49ers 17. All right, with that being said, we are going to talk a little bit about Monday Night Football tomorrow, because we want y'all to join us for the halftime show, Monday Night Football. Eagles, Cowboys ish. Of course, we know this is a NFC East divisional rivalry. Of course, Cowboys and Eagles fans have been talking mess throughout this whole week on social media. I know I've seen it. I know you probably have as well. Give the people what to look out for in this game.
Dak in that offense, are they going to keep doing what they've been playing really well? Or are they going to continue playing well? The Eagles offense, they really were shut down against San Francisco. They didn't do as much. They had a couple of explosive plays, but not as much as you expected from them. Really up and down roller coaster performance. So how are they going to do against this Dallas defense that's also up and down? That'll be what you're looking out for. The matchup really is the Eagle offense versus that Dallas defense, because you expect the Dallas offense to just dominate that Eagles defense, plain and simple. So
yeah, it should be a pretty, I think, a decent game. It's going to be a divisional rivalry game, of course. I think it's going to be very close. Of course, tune in tomorrow on our social media pages. We'll let y'all know who we are picking. Of course, with that being said, check out our comment section. We will drop the link to our merchandise. As you can see, if you want you a nice little X Talking Ish t-shirt or even a hoodie, go ahead and check that out in the comment section. And as well, before we get up out of here as well, I just want to let everybody know about our record at the moment for our 2021 Pick'ems. I am in the lead at the moment, 19-13. Ish is right behind me with 17-13. So this week could change some things up. It could keep a little 2-game separation. We shall see. I hope everybody enjoyed this Sunday slate of football games. Tune back in Monday during halftime for Monday Night Football, and of course our Tuesday recap show on Tuesday at 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. Thank y'all very much for